Hey guys, Cohesive Friendship Unit here. I'm Chris and I am with Brian,
What's going on?
Jeremy,
Yo, what's up?
Jake,
Hey guys.
and today we have some news for you. Uh, Specifically about the Atari box, or now known as the Atari VCS. But before we begin, real quick, likes, subscribes, comments, super appreciated. So at GDC that's going on this week, specifically March 19th, there was a press release released by Atari that the Atari box, which was met with a lot of skepticism earlier. They had an Indiegogo campaign that was supposed to launch, and the day that it launched for pre-orders, they canceled it. They back in the day, they announced it was going to cost between $250 and $300, and that was at the time just about all we knew. But today, everything has changed. They are rebranding it to the Atari VCS, which, if you older folk out there remember, was the original name for the Atari 2600.
I was going to say that. I think that's kind of telling.
So,
No,
okay. Well, so I'm just going to read a little bit about the the press release, and then we'll have at it. Inspired by the iconic silhouette of the Atari 2600 video computer system, the new VCS has already generated considerable excitement within the gaming community.
Wrong.
Its skillful blend of modern lines and details combined with contemporary content technology and new innovation has evoked positive reactions from Atari fans, both new and old.
Incorrect.
The Atari VCS will, of course, serve up lots of classic content, but it is so much more than a retro box. Jeremy?
That's bullshit.
Okay. It is a completely new Atari connected device designed for today's living room.
No, it fucking is not.
So they brought this box to the GDC conference, and they showed off the box itself, the controller, box,
the controller,
and then the two controllers, and it's thought that both controllers are going to come with the box. One is like very much a 2600 controller. It's a little modernized, but at the end of the day, that's what it looks like. The other one looks like a very shitty Xbox One controller.
Very shitty.
So much
Very
so
shitty.
that it is suspiciously looking like an Ouya controller to me.
It also does not work. The controller, the joystick controller seems to probably work. They obviously couldn't. Well, we'll get into that. But the Xbox controller is not a real controller. The buttons don't move. The joysticks don't move. It was a controller mock-up.
Oh yeah, and you can. I mean, if you look at the pictures closely, it's pretty clear. But so that's just the thing. They brought the box to the conference, but it was literally just that, a box. It was a shell with a controller concept. So nothing's really happened since the Atari box. So what do we think? What do we think's going on here?
Still a huge scam.
Still.
what does it do?
That's
Like,
that
what does it
question.
Presumably, it
do?
plays games.
I'm glad you asked, Brian, because the
So-
article
Does
says
it play Atari games? Like,
it does Atari games. It runs
They are
is
going to-
Roller
yes.
Coaster Tycoon 3? Because I don't want to pay $250 for that.
It runs Linux as well, so they
It's Roller Coaster
maybe get
Tycoon
Linux games. They're saying
No,
They're
it's
building
Roller Coaster
in-
Tycoon 3.
media options, so you can do Netflix and YouTube. Although the article specifically says through a web browser, not a dedicated app, which kind of sucks. And that's about it for other features.
So
It's
it will
Roller Coaster
definitely
Tycoon 3.
it'll definitely play Atari games, likely the older ones. And
But they're actively
it
looking
comes-
for people to develop the Atari games.
Yeah, and everything else just seems like a far-fetched promise.
I don't
Like,
think
so-
that it will definitely play any games. I don't think that it will definitely exist.
Oh, I think they'll take the money and they'll push out some shit and leave.
Yeah, they'll make something, but
You don't think they'll just take the money and run?
No.
No.
they can't.
Because if we remember the previous terms of agreement on the funding for the Kickstarter before they canceled it was like part of the agreement was like you understand that the money can be used to go towards the travel and expenses of like various members of the Atari executive. Basically, it was like that was for the Ataribox.
No, that was to invest in the game.
Yeah,
was
that was to
to
invest
invest-
in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh, my bad. But
But
like,
still-
no, it's
still
going to be
Atari.
the same fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
the same guys, so...
And literally, they don't like it. Doesn't do anything yet. Like they might have a working joystick controller. That is all they have to show right now.
Well, so the way I see it is, they can charge $250 to $300, and if all they deliver is emulating Atari 2600 games, that's not like a feat of engineering. They can do that, Like they can give you your shitty joystick controller.
It's not a feat of anything, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Calculator.
that console's 40 years old. Like my amiibo could probably figure out a way to make it happen.
People emulate
probably
games
true.
as a hobby for free.
Yeah. So they could push something out the door. This to me smells so much like Ouya. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Except this is 3 times as much as Ouya.
Remind us about Ouya, Chris.
Ouya was an Android-based console, and the big headliner of it was that it was $99, and it was going to launch with every Android, like the Android marketplace. So it had a huge launch library, and it had a gamepad, and that was kind of it. And it was underpowered, undersupported, and the controller was crap.
So, Chris, here are quotes from an article from someone who spoke with the Atari executive in charge of the VCS at this game developers conference. They start talking about the USB stick. What happens if we plug this into our laptop? We ask Mike. This article is from the Register. I don't know, he says. Will it work? I don't know, he says. If we plug it into a different games machine, will it work? No. So it's custom hardware and software. I don't know about that. Launch date, can't say. Interface, can't tell you. Hardware manufacturer, can't tell you. Game developer partners, we're talking to people. Target market, we can't say. I don't think they've literally done any work at all. I think
Mike's
this is the
got
same.
all this news.
Yeah, Mike's got the details. I
He's
think
got the
that,
deets.
I think that they literally made this shell for the last time we saw it. Since then, they 3D printed a controller and like they bought some like it's. I don't think there's anything here. I think they're just trying to scam some people. I'm not sure that this will come out.
Okay, so you think it's
No
it's
games.
smoke and mirrors?
It's obviously scope and
Well,
smoke.
yeah.
I don't know if it's ever going to be released.
It
doesn't have wood grain.
Yes.
It does. It does.
The
have
one
really-
Atari box that we know exists, or excuse me, Atari VCS, the one that
shell.
we know exists, does have wood grain.
Then you're
And
all
they-
set, man.
They
You're all
promise.
set.
They
It's all
promise that
good.
wood
I
grain.
suppose they say it's wood grain. Maybe it's not.
Well,
Um,
I mean, is it plastic?
Could be wallpaper.
They
Yeah, the worse it is, the
It
better.
could be.
That's the late 70s, man. Plastic wood grain is where it's at.
I think
This
it's
also
just-
reminds me of the Coleco Chameleon in that it was literally smoking. It was fake. They
I was
put a
gonna say-
PCIe card in a plastic shell and
Yeah.
brought it to a conference.
I think
Will it
that's the
have-
comparison.
Will it have ColecoVision games in it? Will it have support for ColecoVision games?
It probably won't have anything.
They say that it will
No
do 4K
games.
video.
It probably could do 4K video. They said what
It'll
chip
do
it is.
ET in
They say that it
4K.
will cost $250 and do 4K video.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no
guys,
chance.
if you're listening, just buy a Switch,
Actually,
buy a PS4, buy an
here's a
Xbox
pro
One.
tip. Here's a pro tip: if you want to play Atari in 4K, and you have an old 2600 and a 4K TV, you can plug the 2600 into the 4K TV, and it's going to look exactly the same. So,
Yeah. Also, as much as I would love to play 2600 games in 4K, no.
I mean, you
like,
can't,
yeah,
you can't
it's
buy a
just
4K
blocks
TV
and
for
squares.
200.
It's,
You can't buy a graphics card for 200 that supports
Exactly.
4K.
the one thing I do think is interesting is if they do eventually come out with this, have they finally fixed the controllers? Because that was like the original shitty joystick was the 2600.
Oh, yeah, that was
They
terrible.
would fail like left and right.
So the Ouya triggers, if you like depressed like the right analog trigger, it would just be stuck. You would have to like pull it
Oh, the
back
whole
out.
thing would-
Yeah, like so I imagine we're gonna have like similar jank going on.
Well,
or like
I mean-
buttons would just stick. I think we're gonna be seeing that. This is just don't buy. This is atrocious.
Not buy it.
You said that it looks strongly like an Ouya controller. Atari may have solved the problems with the controller by gluing all of the buttons in place. Maybe that was how it was intended to be used.
You can't click any of the buttons. Problem
Ugh,
fixed.
That deep
They're all touch sensitive,
Trash.
right?
All right. Well, I think we're all in agreement. This is bad.
They don't have any games. There's no way they could. It can be
It's
legit.
the death throes of a once proud company.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, I mean, it's, I think we've discussed this before too. It's not even really Atari, right? It's like someone else bought
Yep.
the rights to the Atari name,
Yep.
and they're just being like, oh yeah, it's quote unquote Atari. So
Also, the
it's
console.
the death throes of someone
impossibly
pretending
thin.
to be a once proud company.
It's impossibly thin for an Atari.
Yeah.
Or anything that plays 4K TV or games on a TV.
So pretty much anything.
Well, we'll keep you up to date. Please don't pre-order this. Hopefully, we can get some chuckles out of it as time goes on. I just hope people don't get burned, like people who aren't following games closely, and they're in their 40s or 50s, and they see this and get all excited,
Yeah.
throw their money at it. But
And if you want an Atari VCS, buy the original Atari VCS.
I mean, I do see a point for. So I own an Atari 2600, and it you can only plug it in to like the video
RF. Yeah,
the
yeah,
RF, which is pretty hard to do today. So like even if they like and unfortunately all those like Atari flashback systems have like bloatware and they're sluggish and they use like IR controllers, so they're really laggy. But it would be like all they have to do is push out like a $40 2600 that has an HDMI port and
Atari
like
Classic.
50 games. Yeah, but and just make it not shit. Like just
Like a Nintendo and SNES Classic.
yeah, but so don't.
But not
just
shit.
don't- Yeah, just don't license it out to someone. Like just do that. Call it a day.
You also forget that they kind of torpedoed the 2600 and everything in 1980.
They are
They
the
did
reason
shoot
the video game
Yeah,
market crashed. So
and
whatever.
Nintendo is prominent in the video market. But
Well, Nintendo didn't learn
it's
that
not like
lesson.
they were the first people.
Yeah,
If they were the first
Nintendo's the reason Sony's prominent. So
right. If
we
they
all
were
make
the first
mistakes.
people to fail, someone's got to be a pioneer.
Yep. Someone's got to be a trailblazer. All right. I think we're done here. Brian, do you want to close this off?
Yeah, sure. Well, if you were unfortunate enough to put some money into the VCS world, first off, we're sorry about this whole podcast, I guess, and we'd like to hear from you down in the comments what you think of it, or if you have put money into this, why you put money into it, or what your hopes would be for it. I guess Atari's in some serious trouble, so they need some innovative thinking to help them out of their bind, which is not having made anything relevant since the mid 80s. But here at Cohesive Friendship Unit, we're all about innovative thinking and all that good shit. So maybe we can help them out. So if you think you can save Atari, go ahead and leave us a comment, and we'll be sure to give you at least 5% of the rights when we sell the idea to Atari. Also, make sure you click that little ringy dingy up at the top of your screen so that you get your updates whenever we come out with a poppin' fresh new video. And as always, be sure to smash that motherfucking like button.
Hey guys, let us know what you think about all this below. We'll catch you in the next one.